So a month or so ago, I put out a video asking for your help. My dad and I are running the London Marathon, and I still am looking for your donations. I was blown away by the generous support from TLDR viewers, and I'm so appreciative that this amazing community was so generous. The point of today's video isn't to ask for more donations, though if you'd like to, there is a link in the description. But instead, I'm looking to tell you more about the charity I'm running it for. I'm raising money for Scleroderma and Raynaud's UK, a charity which supports people with those two diseases. Last time I gave you a brief summary about the diseases and the charity, but today I have some experts.
Hi, my name's Sue Farrington and I'm the Chief Executive of Scleroderma and Raynaud's UK.
So I'm Dr. Fatima Suleiman. I'm the Head of Research and Services at Scleroderma and Raynaud's UK.
My mum has scleroderma, and one of her biggest frustrations is that people don't understand the disease properly, especially as you can't tell that she has the disease by looking at her. So instead of me prattling on, here's Sue and Fatima to tell you more.
We're the only charity in the UK supporting people with scleroderma and Raynaud's. We are a small team of 9 people, but we have huge ambitions.
So first of all, Raynaud's phenomenon is actually quite common in the UK. So there's about 10 million people who suffer from this. And what it is that the very fine vasculature in your fingers, in your extremities, they actually narrow, so the flow of blood to your fingers and toes can be impeded. So people who have Raynaud's are typically very sensitive to changes in temperature and maybe stressful events as well. Because of the narrowing of the blood vessels, blood will not flow to the fingers, so the fingers will go quite numb and a bit of pain. For most people, there's quite dramatic colour changes, so it will go from white to blue and then red again as it heats up. An analogy that we like to use is actually if you can imagine plunging your fingers into the ice of a frozen pond, leaving it there for quite a few minutes, pulling them out and running them under incredibly hot water, that kind of searing pain is actually what people who suffer from Raynaud's go through. For most people it's manageable, but for a very small subset of people who have Raynaud's, their symptoms will be much more severe. So these people will typically see things like digital ulcers form on their fingertips. They'll have difficulty with everyday things like buttoning up t-shirts and opening their front door. So these people are actually suffering from something we call secondary Raynaud's, and that's much more serious because secondary Raynaud's is usually an indicator of a much more serious underlying condition like scleroderma. So scleroderma is a rare autoimmune condition. It affects about 2.5 million people worldwide. We think that there are 19,000 people in the UK who are living with it. An autoimmune condition is when your body's immune system, your defense system, turns on itself. So the body starts attacking itself. So it's characterized by an overproduction of collagen. So it's the wound healing system gone wrong. And what that usually means is that for people who have localized scleroderma, they'll have thickened patches of skin on their arms, on the surface of their body, sometimes maybe their face. There are people who suffer from what's called systemic scleroderma. So systemic scleroderma is when you have that overproduction of collagen and you don't just have the thickened patches of skin, your internal organs also stiffen up because of that collagen overproduction. If you have systemic scleroderma, you may find that your heart is affected, your lungs, your kidney, and your gastrointestinal system.
And when we were established in 2016, we asked the community what they wanted us to do. And they were very clear. There were 3 main things they wanted us to achieve. The first was to increase awareness and understanding across healthcare professionals and the public. The second was to provide information and support, and the third was to fund research. We fund research in a number of institutions across the UK, looking at developing new and effective treatments and also trying to understand what causes Raynaud's and scleroderma.
At Scleroderma and Raynaud's UK, we really strongly believe that research is going to be the thing that makes a difference in people's lives. It is because of research that we're now at this point where life expectancy has actually dramatically changed for people living with scleroderma. So if you have kidney involvement now, we now have the appropriate drugs and medication that can be given. That means that your life expectancy rate is now more than 85%, whereas 30 years ago it will have been around 20%. We fund research into early detection because the earlier you can detect the conditions, the higher your chance of survival.
Around 90% of people with scleroderma will first present with Raynaud's. But what we've been told is that actually Raynaud's isn't being taken seriously by healthcare professionals. And so with the support of 2 clinicians, we've produced an online test so that people can come and find out for themselves whether they've got primary or secondary Raynaud's, and then find out what they need to do next. We've got an amazing helpline team of volunteers who are there to take people's calls whenever they need it. And we've got a number of support groups across the country. Your donations and support are vital to help us continue our work. We want to make sure that we're supporting even more people by training more support group leaders across the country. We want to increase and continue our awareness, and we want to fund and invest more into research so that we accelerate early detection and diagnosis, and that we really bring the full benefits back to patients in terms of quality treatments.
Unfortunately, there is no cure for scleroderma or Raynaud's. We still don't know what actually causes these conditions. We also don't know why more women are affected than men. And it's these kind of questions that we really do need to answer if we're going to have a difference.
So please give as much as you can and help support Jack and his dad when they're doing the marathon. Every little bit that you can give will give them an even greater incentive. Thank you.
Hopefully this video has taught you more about SRUK and the diseases they're fighting. If you want to lend them a hand and support our fundraising, head over to tldrnews.co.uk/marathon to find out more and to donate. Thank you so much for watching this video, it means a lot to me.